Hi guys, welcome back. So today we're gonna do a reaction video to this video called Is Self-Harm Sinful by Life Teen. According to their own website, Life Teen is a movement within the Roman Catholic Church that leads teenagers and their families into a deeper relationship with Jesus Christ and His Church. I have never seen this video, this is gonna be my first ever reaction. If you don't know me, hi, my name is Malika, I am a recovering self-harmer, and this is why I wanted to react to this video in particular today, and this is the angle I'm coming from. Of course, as this video is gonna touch on religion, and it's gonna touch on my own personal experiences, I need to do a massive disclaimer before going to watch this video. So if you don't want to watch the disclaimer, go into the description, there's gonna be a timeline, and you can click on the right time code if you want to skip it. But for now, a massive disclaimer. So first off, where am I coming from? I'm an atheist, but I grew up in the evangelical church, and if you've watched this video that I made with Brenda from God is Grey, you'll know that I had a pretty bad and traumatic experience regarding the church, the evangelical church, and my mental health. I was told it was my fault, I was told I wasn't praying hard enough, I was told that I had demons inside of me that were causing all my mental health issues, and that I needed exorcisms to take them out. So I'm gonna try to come from an unbiased point of view, but obviously if you've heard my experience, you'll know that it's gonna be pretty hard for me. But I know that for a lot of people, faith, religion, spirituality is a huge part of their recovery, of their support system, and I really don't want to be insensitive towards that or to anyone's experiences. I know that I had a very bad experience, but that it doesn't reflect the church as a whole or everyone's experiences with the church and their mental health. For today, I'm not really interested to know if it's sinful or not, actually. I'm more interested to know what does it mean if it's sinful or not. Is there any victim blaming? Are people encouraged to seek evidence-based secular treatment or not? Are they made to feel like it's their fault if they're self-harming? This is really what I'm interested in. I don't really care if it's sinful or not per se. I care about the consequences of it being sinful or not. So with all of that out of the way, let's watch this video.
Hello YouTube friends, welcome to Ask Joel. This week we've got a really good question that has a couple of different pieces to it that was asked by Deanne DeSouza. She says, is self-harm a sin, and is it something we have to confess? Which is a really great question, especially if you maybe are wrestling with that particular issue, or you know somebody who is and you're striving to live out the faith faithfully, and you're wondering, well, am I doing something that is wrong, there's a sin I need to confess, or maybe somebody's asked you that question.
Okay, so first off, right off the bat, you can tell this is a Catholic video because the whole confession thing is never something that I heard coming from an evangelical, from a Protestant side of things. So there may be a few things that I miss in this. So if you're a Catholic and you have a different opinion from what I'm gonna say in this video, please leave it in the comments, because I'm probably not gonna understand everything that they're gonna say, because I'm not really sure how it works, as I'm not a Catholic.
The first place we have to go is just addressing the reality of mental illness. Sometimes we struggle with things like depression, anxiety, or at its worst, thoughts of suicide and self-harm. And those things are all bigger issues that absolutely need to be addressed spiritually, but also need to be addressed emotionally, psychologically, and even sometimes physically through the help of a licensed therapist, counselor, or doctor, or sometimes all three.
Yes! I'm so happy he's promoting professional help. I'm so happy. I was so relieved to hear that. Like I said, this is something that was very different from my own experience. I was not encouraged to seek professional help at all. I was just told to pray. I'm very, very happy he's not doing that right now. Good job.
And so, on the surface level, if you or somebody you know is struggling with self-harm, they're inflicting cuts on their skin, they're doing other things that are self-destructive, they're hurting themselves in some way that maybe you've noticed that's visible, or they've disclosed that to you, the best thing that you can do is let a trusted adult know about that.
Yes, yes, good. Again, this is something my church group didn't do at all. This video is very good so far. I'm very impressed. Good job, Life Team.
You were made for more than to be trapped inside mental illness, and the Lord has empowered people and given them gifts and talents in our world to help free you from that and learn how to manage that in a way that is healthy and allows you to be whole and ultimately to be free.
I'm really glad he's not doing the whole secular versus Christian thing where everything that's secular is satanic and is not holy, and everything that is Christian is good, and this is something that was very detrimental in my own experience. So I'm very happy that he see that you can mesh the two together.
So that's the first thing we really have to address before we even get into like the sinful aspect or what we do with confession, is that no person, or I guess very few people without some underlying mental struggle just simply say, I'm going to inflict harm upon myself. And so we need to address that underlying thing first and ask, why is that happening? And then get help to be able to deal with that. That's absolutely key. The specific question about it being a sin is, it's something that is good to confess, but is not something that we need to be guilt-ridden for.
I'm really happy he addressed the part about guilt, because I think as soon as you label something a sin, you label yourself as sinful and as a sinner, and this is something that can be very hard on someone who, like he says, is already struggling with their mental health.
We have to understand a couple of things. One is that God created your body to be good, and God created you to love who you are. So anytime that we inflict harm upon ourselves, and let's just even draw back from physical harm, but emotional harm through the unkind things we might say to ourselves, through self-deprecating comments, through emotional harm we might inflict upon ourselves, and through physical harm, those are things that are kind of looking at God's creation and disrespecting it. And so we would say those are grave matter. They're things that are serious because they have a serious spiritual impact on us. That said, and this is important to hear, when we have an underlying thing like depression, mental illness, anxiety, if we're struggling with thoughts of suicide, those things, we don't have the same level of culpability for them. And when I say culpability, I mean we don't have the same level of control necessarily over some of those things, which is why it's so important to go see somebody who can help us regain that control.
I'm very happy he sees it as serious and as something that you don't control, because this is what mental illness is.
And the reason why we might bring it up in the confessional is not so a priest could say, oh my gosh, what a horrible thing, I can't believe you're doing that, and condemn us, but so we can be honest with the mercy of Christ and say, this is an area where I'm struggling. I know it's not a good thing, and I know that it's coming from this other deeper thing that I'm wrestling with, but I want to overcome it. Because at the end of the day, things like mental illness, depression, anxiety, even thoughts that creep into our mind of suicide are not themselves sinful. And that's important. If you're wrestling with those things, that doesn't make it a sinful thing. When something becomes serious or even borders on sin is when it's something that is doing real harm to ourselves that we start to have the control to stop.
So if I understood him correctly, he's saying that self-harm is not sinful, but still something that is helpful to confess about, because it can help you with having God work on that area, which in a way he's presenting it without the guilt and just as a way to kind of keep yourself accountable and use your religion and your faith to help you. I can't disagree with that.
And so if you're wrestling with that, I would say bring it to confession, but not for condemnation, but to give it to the light of Christ and the mercy of Christ and the grace of Christ, and then to allow Jesus to speak into that area in your life as you find other avenues of medicinal healing, counseling, therapy.
And again, I love that he's not doing the black and white thinking. I love that he's not saying that secular help is not something that is important. He's been stressing it a lot in this video, and I really commend him for that. Because I know from experience that a lot of Christians wouldn't agree.
So at the end of the day, what you need to know is self-harm a sin. It is a serious thing. Should you bring it to confession? Yes, not necessarily because we're seeking condemnation for it or to be told we're wrong, but to bring it to the light of Christ and to be honest that that's a struggle. And then we absolutely have to go find some help for somebody to counsel us through that so that we overcome that struggle and we can live as whole, free persons.
Well, I agree with Joel. I think he did a very good job on this video. One thing is that he didn't actually really tell us if he thinks that self-harm is sinful or not. He says it's a very serious thing. He didn't really say if it was sinful or not, but like I said, this is not really what I'm interested in. What I was interested in is seeing if he was recommending counseling and if there was any guilt-ridden things. I want to see if he was promoting professional help, secular professional help, and if there was any victim blaming, which I didn't see any of, and I'm very happy about that. I had a very bad experience with the church in mental health, but I know for a lot of people, the church, their faith, their spirituality is a huge part of their mental health and of their recovery. So that's gonna be it for today. I was very pleasantly surprised. If there are other videos that you want me to react to, please leave them in the comments. As usual, the original video from LifeTeen is gonna be in the description. If you want to chat with me, you can hit me up on Instagram, link is in the description. As always, I answer to every DM I get. and I will see you very soon. Bye guys.